Learning target 1.15 has you identify and explain fusion and fission reactions. So when we're talking about nuclear reactions, we're talking about two main types, fusion and fission. So let's start with fusion. So fusion happens at usually with the lighter elements in the universe. This is the nuclear reaction that is currently running our sun. So fusion, if you kind of sound out the word, sounds like fuse. And the word fuse means to stick together. So we got two things fusing together, that means sticking together. So an example of this would be two hydrogen atoms. So an H and an H. Under immense pressure, these two can get smushed together, and when they smush, they will create one atom that is bigger, in this case helium, plus energy. Okay? This is a fusion reaction because two atoms, two small atoms, come together to create a slightly bigger atom plus energy. That is fusion. So that is the type of nuclear reaction that occurs in our the sun. So right now, two hydrogen, which is the most abundant element in our universe, is fusing together in the sun. Almost all stars run on this type of energy. So any star that you see in the sky that's putting off its own light is running on fusion. Okay, so two hydrogen nuclei will fuse into helium. The sun fuses about 620 million tons of hydrogen each second. So in the time that you've watched this video for about 2 minutes, you can imagine how many million tons of hydrogen the sun has actually fused together. Fission is the other type of nuclear reaction. So in this reaction, we start with a big atom. So let's pick uranium-235. So uranium-235 is bombarded with a neutron. So a neutron is a tiny little subatomic particle, and it hits the uranium atom. What happens is, this sends uranium, and once it gets into the uranium nucleus becomes so unstable that it instantly splits into two smaller nuclei. So in this case, it would split into barium-141 and krypton-92. It's not important what it splits into. It's important to realize the difference between fusion and fission. So I shoot this high velocity neutron towards the uranium atom, and there's an explosion that happens, and two smaller elements come out along with some energy. Okay? And the energy can be useful for us. This was how we made the bomb. The atomic bomb. If you ever heard of the atomic bomb, it was a fission bomb. This is also how we make some electricity. Where fusion, on the other hand, is what powers our sun. So there are the two types of nuclear reactions that happen: fusion and fission. Individual example. What is the difference between a fission and a fusion reaction in terms of what happens in the nucleus? So pause your video and resume it when you want to know the answer, and check yours. Okay, so fission and fusion. So in fission, one big nucleus, so for instance, our example was a uranium nucleus, splits apart into two smaller ones. Where in fusion, two smaller nuclei fuse or come together to form one bigger nucleus. So that's the difference between fusion and fission. Okay? Couple things I want to add. In fission, again, remember we had a neutron hitting a uranium atom and splitting into two smaller atoms, like krypton and barium, plus energy. Okay? This fission reaction is sometimes called a chain reaction as well, because it will continue to happen over and over until it runs out of what we call fissile material, which is material that can undergo a fusion or fission reaction. Okay? So that's just a side note that you might want to check out. This is also what we use to create the atomic bomb, which is really interesting because it's part of your history class as well. So look into that.